What's going on, guys? Aqua here, back with another video here today to give you all part two to a video I dropped a couple days ago about spiritual successors and legacy in hip hop. Today will be the kind of official start to the series where I talk about some tropes that have existed in every single decade of hip hop and who will take the mantle of those tropes for the next decade. For example, we have had, of course, for the melodic pop rapper, we have had LL Cool J in the 80s and 90s, Nelly in the 2000s, and now we have Drake in the 2010s. We're here to discuss who do we believe will be the next guy to take that mantle in the 2020s. I'm here with my favorite rap casual fan in the whole wide world, and also my best friend.
All right, what's up, y'all? I'm Laomi. You know, it's gonna be a lot of jokes, a lot of bickering. So get your popcorn, strap in. We're gonna get it out, y'all.
All right. With that being said, speaking of that lineage, our first entry is going to be who do we feel like is going to fill the void that Drake is beginning to leave as the quality of his music begins to dip. Who do we feel like is going to take that mantle and run with?
Man, that's why he said that. First off, we're gonna throw that out there because they gonna disrespect my king.
Wait,
like
what
that.
happened? What'd you say?
Oh, I said you only saying that because you're a Pusha T fan. You said the quality of his music. Did you listen to her loss?
Chill on me, bro.
Niggas beats is banging, nigga, your hooks did it. The lyric didn't equal the Trump's winning. The bigger question is how the Russians did it. It was written like now, but it came from Clinton. Let's go! Imaginary players aiming coach right. Let's go! Master recipes on the stove lights. Come on! The number on his jersey is the quote price. Come on! You want a Diet Coke? That's a joke, right?
Pusha T is top one. I don't know what y'all niggas thought this was. You feel me? Pusha T top one. But I like Drake too. I feel like he has incredible music and is a great rapper. Sometimes when he decides
good shit.
when he decides to be.
He says sometimes.
And you know, his last record with 21 was solid. You know what I'm saying? Like a quarter of it was unlistenable, but you know, it was pretty good. You know what I'm saying? So like yeah, I mean, but with that being said, who do you feel like is going to take that mantle as the token pop rapper / melodic rapper for this generation?
Okay, so I was in between two people for this one, but I've settled on, or like I went through a lot of thinking, as you know. A Boogie.
Interesting. Okay. Nah. Okay.
Yeah, I forgot.
I didn't have that pick, but I really respect that pick. So talk to me about why A Boogie, and do you think he would at any point surpass Drake? I feel like he's already surpassed Drake, but that's a different discussion.
All right, if y'all couldn't tell already, I'm a Drake fan. Drake is up there on my list, so you gotta. So
worst
whenever
rapper,
he comes from my boy, I gotta
of softest rappers. I mean,
oh my days. But I think
top two in light skin.
Watch out.
Logic is top one. All right, go ahead.
That's a tech. No, that's a tech. Ref, that's a tech. But I think he definitely has the melodies. He has the discography, and his mainstream success speaks for itself. But also, I do feel he has like a wide range of like people that he can collab with. He has like a lot of versatility that Drake also has. So I think he's gonna surpass him in terms of mainstream success. Probably not, only because Drake is like just so like humongously big. Not that A Boogie's not big. A Boogie is up there, of course, but I think like Drake is just like great. But I do think in terms of the quality of music, definitely.
Interesting. Do you see? I mean, if he hasn't already, do you feel like A Boogie could release an album on the level of a Nothing Was the Same or in Take Care? I feel like he's already released a record that's on the level of Take Care.
Yeah.
But do you feel like maybe could he reach that Nothing Is the Same, or if you're reading this, just peak levels of God?
Yeah, okay. Because like, let me. Because yeah, his especially like what Hoodie Season was like the
Whew.
first album where I was like got like put onto
Classic.
him for real, like back in 2018, and I
Classic.
feel like that. Not that. Hmm, not that like it. Actually, it's I. I didn't not that I compared him to Drake at the time, but just I got a similar feeling of like the kind of
Yeah.
like from like his older albums, like the kind of like breaking out, a lot of melodies, but also like he's bringing a lot of like real shit to the table for real.
Yeah.
So I would say, yeah, a lot of the shit is comparable with that. That shit that he's already put out.
I respect that. Nah. A Boogie was definitely on my radar. The only reason why I didn't end up picking him was because I feel like A Boogie is currently in his prime rather than some other artists who I feel like haven't quite reached their prime yet. But and you know me, New York hip hop spot. Everybody make sure to subscribe for quality updates on New York music. I love A
Gang gang.
Boogie. If you watch my Crowning of the Kings video, you know I have high praise for A Boogie in that video. So yeah, man, solid pick. For me, I've been debating for a while. Rod Wave was definitely in contention for me as well. Very family friendly. A lot of quality. Doesn't get enough, you know, credit for his rapping ability, definitely, and he probably has the best voice of anybody in hip hop right now. Jack Harlow would have been in consideration, except he decided to drop trash. So I think that I'm gonna go with Doja Cat, man. I'm gonna go with Doja Cat. I think that she is on a roll with Planet Her, and she. I think what's interesting is like a lot of people would argue that Planet Her wasn't fully a rap album, but the interesting thing is that if you recall back in 2012, that was exactly what people were saying about Drake. And if you recall even farther back in 1997, that's exactly what people were saying about Lauryn Hill. And so I think that while some may argue that Doja Cat is not fully a rapper, I would argue that her not fully being a rapper is exactly what makes her qualified to be considered for this position. Do I think she will surpass Drake? Like we discussed, streaming wise, no. She's like, yeah, Drake has literally surpassed Eminem. Like this man did, like when a nigga could drop trash and sell 230K, bro, you're unstoppable at that point. Like, I'm sorry, there's nobody who's topping Drake in terms of stream. That man sold like almost 1 million copies with views. So I don't see him, but I'm not gonna lie, skill wise, I see it. I think that she is already building. I think that Drake in 2020, 2012 versus Doja Cat in 2022. I think that Doja Cat is already a better rapper than Drake was at this point in his career. I would definitely go with Doja Cat, with a definite honorable mention to Rod Wave, who were neck and neck for me. And last point about Doja Cat that I wanted to make is that out of everybody, she's also the most commercially successful, boasting the second highest streams of last year and having one of the most high selling albums of 2021. All right, so now that we've gotten all the nice and the family friendly rap out of the way, let's get into some grime. Let's get into some real street rap. You feel me? Let's talk about drill. Let's talk about aggressive street rap. So, in every decade, for every common and for every conscious Kendrick Lamar, there has been the grimy street underground, whether that be the aggressive sounds of DMX in the 2000s or the incredibly innovative Chief Keef. There has always been that street underbelly that has taken over. With that being said, you want to go first? You want me to go first this time, or you want to?
You go first this time. You go first this time.
All right. I'll go first this time.
Because I feel good about my answer. I don't know about you.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. So this answer might surprise people. Though if you know me really well, or if you've seen a few of my videos, it may actually not. As much as I love New York drill, and as much as I would really love to say somebody from New York. Y'all know how much I love Favi. Um, I'm gonna have to say Central C, man. I'm gonna have to say Central C. I feel like from a mainstream perspective, while he isn't exactly the biggest artist in the US, he is absolutely taking the UK by storm right now. He of course had that huge hit Doja. Speaking of Doja, that the Doja record that blew up, and I also feel like he really is a guy who puts the bars first. And unlike I feel like a Lil Durk who gets an honorable mention, he hasn't really been rapping for that long, or at least hasn't put out that many projects yet. And so his career is still somewhat in its infancy from a commercial standpoint. But even with this 2 album run that he's had so far with Wild West and his most recent project, he's been really, really killing it. And so I definitely feel like Central C is a solid pick for me. I also feel like from a rapping standpoint, he is the best drill rapper alive. From the way that he is able to have a narrative focus to his storytelling, he is an extremely, extremely strong rapper. And even, with drill, the most important thing from the DMX to the Chief Keefs have been staying out of trouble. And I think with all the moves that Central C is doing, and engaged with, I think he has the chance to have the most longevity. Do I think that he's going to surpass Chief Keef? Influence-wise, obviously not. Commercially, maybe. We gonna see. But I definitely think from a quality standpoint, he absolutely can surpass Chief Keef if he has not already. I definitely feel like from a rapping perspective, he is far stronger, and he has a lot of growing that he still can do. And so, absolutely, man, Central C. Oh, honorable mentions, of course, go to Lil Durk, who I feel like is good, but isn't that good of an album artist, and is therefore kind of excluded, in my opinion, for that reason. And Fabio Foreign, who is also pretty solid, but at this point hasn't shown himself to be quite as good of a rapper as Chief Keef, and doesn't have exactly the huge amount of mainstream pull that somebody like a Lil Durk would have to justify putting him above Central C.
Interesting. You're really coming out with the sleeper take. This is nice. I like that.
But I try to make sure everybody still has a somewhat mainstream success, right? I don't want to pick like underground niggas. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's how you know you're picking underground. Like sleeper, as in like I wouldn't be expecting these, but like you like build these cases really well. I mess with that.
Who are you picking for the King of Drill?
I will say, I was actually thinking of Chef G at first, but I decided to go with someone that I like a little bit more, Sleepy Hollow.
Damn. Okay.
And the reason I say that is because I think, because Chief Keef was like really an innovator when it came to like drill, as we all know. And I think what Sleepy Hollow is doing like is, I'm just a sucker for consciousness. I think that might be it. Like, J. Cole stan, you feel me? But like
how
the
does
way
he land
can
on Drake?
show,
I don't understand. Go ahead.
the way he can like show versatility in drill too. Like he got like the rah songs, but like he also got like he still has that like drill as like, I'm talking about 2055. I'm talking about Wait on Me. You know what I'm saying? Like he got those are like just you vibe in the car. You feel me? Like you drive it and you just listen to that. You just bumping that. So I feel like that's how he's taking that innovation, and I really do mess with that. Not that he's under. Like,
to your credit, speaking of innovation, people do not give Sleepy Hollow credit. Okay. And this is why this is going to be on my long expose of why I think Bronx Drill is a whole lot of mid. Bronx Drill was not the niggas who brought samples in the drill. I need y'all to stop saying that. Okay? Look it up. Sleepy Hollow was doing samples in drill before K-Flock started rapping. Okay? Before K-Flock started rapping, that was already a huge part of Sleepy Hollow's sound. And so all this like sample flipping and didn't have to cut me, all that you see in there, that's because it's Sleepy and Deep End Freestyle. So yeah, I'm surprised, man. I think Sleepy wasn't really on my radar just because I don't think he has the mainstream success to capture a generation. and I also don't. He's locked up, right? So the biggest question with all these guys is from a legal standpoint, like how is stuff gonna go? Because if we really want to talk about it, both Chief Keef and DMX were heavily hampered by their struggles with the law, and so and I worry about that same thing with Sleepy Hollow. But if Sleepy Hollow can get his head on straight, I would love to see that nigga take over. Are you kidding me? Him or Fabi? Him, Fabi, or Chef? Yeah, I would love to see any of them take over. All right. And the last, bro, if we don't have the same pick for this last one, I'm fighting you, dog. I am fighting you, dog. The last one is the creative conscious rapper. Of course, in the 2000s. Well, actually, I'll start. We can go all the way back to the 90s. In the 90s, we had Tupac and Tribe Called Quest, who were really holding it down, as well as Common. In the 2000s, we had Lupe Fiasco, but mainly Kanye West holding it down for the creative and conscious rapper. And of course, we have, in my opinion, the greatest rapper of all time, Kendrick Lamar, holding it down for the conscious hip hop, dropping 2 top 10 contender albums with the Triple Butterfly and GKMC. With that being said, man, this is a pretty hard pick just because conscious rap is probably at its least profitable as it's ever been. And so many rappers who are conscious don't have the same level of mainstream success. And so it was very hard for me to pick. So I'm interested, what did you go with for the conscious rapper?
So what I'm thinking is, like, because we know, I don't want to spoil too much of like part 3, but like where we have like a Kendrick, like King of Conscious, and we also like are like
Cole
thinking
King
about
of lyricism.
Cole, King of Lyricism, right? So, and like Cole and Kendrick are both like similar and different in their respective
In certain
ways.
yeah.
And like I'm kind of in between 2 people for like each of them, but I kind of don't know which is which yet. You feel me?
Yeah.
So I will go out on a limb. Okay, actually no. I will say Polo G for this one because I have an explanation for the Cole one. Because I think especially like a lot of like the stuff he's been dropping recently are like very, very like he's got like I think he has the range that like Kendrick has, where like they like their songs, like when they put out albums, like there's a mix of like consciousness and there's also like the mix of like, you know, that rah type stuff. And I think it's like good balances, and I see them similar in that way, like plus their mainstream success and in their respective fields. I do think with Polo G, he has like a different way of doing things, of course, but I do think that like given time, he can, like, his quality of music would match Kendrick at some point. I'm not so sure about the mainstream. I will say that. I will go out on a limb and say that. And not just because Polo G is in my top 5. I'm so sorry. So you can look at me all you want. I really feel like if he works hard at it, I will say that. Because, yo, he got bars, bro. He got bars. I promise you, he got bars.
I'm not saying that Polo G doesn't have bars. I'm not saying that. Kendrick Lamar has dropped Album of the Year every single time that nigga has dropped.
That's a good ass point. He might get close. I will amend my statement because that's a really good point.
or top 5 album. I should say top 5 album because yeah, but
fair enough.
Okay, Clint, but I think you can go. I will say this. I genuinely believe that if Polo G got better producers, instantly, he would be up there with some of the greats. I absolutely do believe that. And you know, he's got this recent upcoming collaboration with Southside, and maybe this is the production focus that he needs to really tap in. And while I'm not the biggest fan of Southside as a producer, he has produced some beats that I do enjoy. And like I said, maybe with a more focused vision, Polo G can definitely bring out, you know, some really quality, you know, music. The album, I think, is called North Side. So yeah, we're gonna see.
All right. And I will say real quick for y'all, if Polo G comes out with that Southside collaboration and Ahmed hears any guitar samples in that, he will not listen to the rest of it. I promise you.
Y'all go. Matter of fact, let me know if you want to see a live reaction, and if I see any pianos, I'm out of this.
He will just
No,
that
no, no,
reaction
no,
will
no,
be
no.
5 seconds.
I think that, and like, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to sound like a hypocrite. I definitely think that pianos are good, but it's just like to have a beat sound so derivative of the last. Like the problem is like each beat sounds similar, right? And that's really my problem right now is like the GOAT wasn't a bad album. It was just like everything sounded so similar to one another to the point where like you could have chopped off half that album and you wouldn't have known the difference. And Hall of Fame was a bit more diverse, but it felt like he was pulling from more relevant styles that were already established. And so it felt more like trend hopping than it did like actually discovering a real new sound, if that makes sense. But he did outsell Migos with that record. So say what you will, he killed it. So for me, King of Consciousness, I can't believe you didn't go with this nigga, bro. Bruh. It's JID, man.
It makes sense. I respect that. We gotta, there gotta be some variance. You know what I'm saying?
I was hoping for one nigga, bro.
I respect it. I respect JID though. I respect JID as a pick.
Forever Story is album of the year. You know what I'm saying? People can debate about Mr. Morale or Melt My Eyes, but I just feel like from start to finish, from a consistency standpoint, Forever Story is the best. The guest verses that JG has been dropping have been insane. His ability to have so much range on the mic and talk about so many different things is absolutely incredible. But most importantly, I feel like what makes him and Kendrick kindred spirits, and I'm not talking about whether or not one is biting from the other, because I think that he's done enough to differentiate himself, is that they make bops. Okay, that is the difference. Okay, Dance Now is one of my favorite songs of all time, and it's crazy if you go back how lyrical it is, but the chorus is hype. The chorus is exciting. This makes bops, right? This dude, like, if you look at Cody Blue 31, if you look at like Radar, this guy makes enjoyable music that can also be appreciated from a conscious level. I do feel like he's also very much in that lane with Kendrick where he's very, I think he's both creative and humble in the sense that he takes a lot from his roots as an Atlanta artist in the same way that, you know, Kendrick took from his roots as a Cali artist, but he takes something and makes something truly beautiful with that art and definitely makes something that I think people are going to look back on as a top 20 album of all time. That's another reason why I definitely feel like JID is going to be up there and is going to be really high up, is because this has been the first time in a while where a somewhat mainstream artist has really captured critical acclaim in a way that the only person we've seen do was Kendrick, right? And so, you know, I definitely feel like Jid is going to be that guy. Like I said, with the amount of guest verses that he has and the fact that he's a part of Dreamville, it's absolutely, you know, insane. And I could definitely foresee Jid having an insane run with everything that he's been able to pull out in the mass so far. With that being said, there will be a part 2 to this video where we cover the next Queen of Rap, the next best Southern trap artist, and the next lyricist. And so yeah, get ready for that. That's definitely coming in the near future. With that being said, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for the latest on New York hip hop. With that being said, peace, y'all.